Hi, all.
Hey, everybody. It's nice to see you.
Different format today, and I'm kind of excited about it. And I am going to be completely spontaneous tonight, and Barbara is going to act as though she's an actual client and ask me questions as though we were in the office together. Uh, she would not give me any preview, so it's going to be truly spontaneous. And depending upon the questions, I want you to know that I may, by necessity, have to repeat some of the things that I've said. And without further ado, my CEO, my technology expert, my partner in business, the CEO of Acu Weight Loss, soon to become Acu Life. Officially, it is, but we'll be there soon. Let's get started.
So, I want to clarify something. I'm not acting like a client. I want to remind you all, I started my journey as a client. And as I've mentioned to you, I've recently gained some weight and I'm getting ready to start on my AccuLife journey. And I've had some points of challenge, resistance. And so, really, what my thought process was about this evening is all of us, and a lot of what my dad, Dr. Schwartz, has been talking about with you over these past few weeks is resistance to change. Why is it there? And what are we going to do about it? Because if we don't make a change, if we don't learn to take responsibility and make a change, we're never going to get to our personal goals when it comes to health, our body, and our weight loss and fat loss. And our ultimate goal is to get to phase 3, maintenance. And I'm blessed to have lived maintenance for 17 years. But the past year and the pandemic, from a bike accident to actually having COVID twice, I'm having personal challenges. So the opportunity is to really talk through points of resistance. And we're going to do this in a format, as my dad mentioned, that I haven't even told him. And honestly, notice no paper. I did not make a list of questions. I know in my mind, and we're going to see where it goes, that if I walked into the office as a client and I say, Dr. Schwartz, here's my challenge. We're going to really replicate an office visit here. And, when you come into the office or you talk to one of us, if you're doing remote, if you're texting, chatting on live chat on the website, talking to us on the phone, we don't know what questions are coming. So we really did not prep this in advance. Okay. So I'm going to start with what I just talked about, which is my real pain point to start with is I had COVID. And when I had it in September, I lost my sense of smell. Now, I never lost my sense of taste, and I know some of you did, but I lost my sense of smell, Dr. Schwartz. And so here's my issue. I was able to maintain for years because one of the things that gives me pure satisfaction is aroma. And I could walk into a kitchen and I could smell the aromas, and that alone gave me satisfaction. But I don't have any satisfaction from that now. I only can taste the food, so I'm overeating because it's the only way that I connect to food.
Okay. First and foremost, let's understand that COVID is a virus, and that affects us, especially as far as oxygen and breathing is concerned, but it also is neurological. When someone loses their sense of smell, there has been damage to the nervous system. What I have discovered is that there is a very natural, but it is slow process for getting the smell back. Now, first, let's understand. Taste is wonderful. Her taste has not gone away. What's gone away is the satisfaction, and we all experience it, of the fact that how does the food smell? You've been in many places. For example, there are times in the movies, and I can remember back years ago sitting there and someone comes in with buttered popcorn and I'm smelling the buttered popcorn, and all of a sudden I want to get up and have some buttered popcorn. So the smell is a very important thing as far as food is concerned. And it is neurological. There has been damage to the nervous system. Now, what I have discovered, and it takes time, is to take odors, like, for example, onion or lemon or anything that normally has a fragrance to it, and take it up to your nose and breathe in for 20 or 30 seconds and take it away. Try a different odor, but in your mind, connect your mind to the smell. And the more familiar the smells are, your brain will begin to connect, and you will be not correcting the damage, but you will be reteaching your brain how to smell things. And once that begins to happen, it tends to move initially very slowly, but as more and more odors are retaught to the brain, the problem gets less and less.
So here's the short-term challenge. Well, I still don't have aroma. I still don't have smell. What can I do? I keep sabotaging myself because without the aroma, even when I know that I should be full, I just keep eating.
Now, this is one of those things that I am totally and completely committed to. All weight loss is psychological. Now, let me explain why. You can live without food. No. You can live without drugs. Yes. You can live without alcohol. Yes. And because in the first few hours of life, your mother either breastfed you or bottle fed you when you were uncomfortable, and food and comfort came together. In this pandemic, with all the pressures people have been experiencing, the psychological aspects are important. And one of the reasons I almost never on these podcasts talk about active weight loss is because you know the program works. So why talk about something that you already know? Now, what I hear Barbara saying, and many of you have experienced it, because you do not have the sense of smell, she's never certain when she's full or what she is doing, and she wants and craves that kind of thing. And that's wherein you have to make a commitment. And the commitment you have to make is very simple. The moment, and I mean the moment, you have a thought to go off the program, you have to take, and you know I prefer the Tic Tac, so I'm just going to be talking about them simply because I like it and it's my preference. You ought to take the Tic Tac and just look at it. It being in your hand, you're in control. It's a Tic Tac. And you're going to say, I want to cheat. I want this, I want that. It's perfectly legitimate to say I want. But if you're going to lose weight and you give in to I want, we're going to be in trouble. So now I have these Tic Tacs in my hand. And I am going to put them in my mouth. And I'm going to swish them around. And as I swish them around, I'm going to say, I want to lose weight. And now that I've put these Tic Tacs in my mouth and the flavor has filled my mouth, even if I try to go off the program, it's going to taste terrible and I'll spit it out. I've taken back control. I've acknowledged the aspect of I want, and I have every right to want. Remember, if I weren't in a weight loss mode, wanting is irrelevant. Why talk about anything? The only reason we're talking is because you say you want to weigh less. I do this. I say I'm using you as a substitute, but I'm giving myself something, and it's over and done with. You have back control. You have a reason for back control. And one last thing. The more you do it, the more effective it is. And the more effective it is, the more you realize you're in control. And let me tell you, there's nothing better than feeling safe and in control.
But how many Tic Tacs can I have? I mean,
I
think I'd go through, 2-3 boxes in a day.
That's the wonderful thing about Tic Tacs. The company has been bought out and all Tic Tacs are 0 calories. That's why I use them.
But what if I can't find Tic Tacs?
Well, there are other substitute things that we could use. The issue for Tic Tacs, for example, the Dr. John's lollipops or the Werther's candies have minimal calories. And we've talked about the fact that 10 calories here or there is not going to make a difference. This is not a caloric program. I use the Tic Tacs because they're accessible, they're small, you can control them, you know what you're doing it for a reason, and the more you do it, the better it feels.
But you know what, Dr. Schwartz, I hear what you're saying, and I want to do it, but sometimes I'm busy and I'm running around and I don't have time, or I'm with people to say, I want to cheat or have this whole conversation with the Tic Tac. So I don't do it. I know I should, but I find myself not doing it.
Now, this is a separate issue altogether. The moment, and this is very important, the moment conception takes place, the sperm and the egg have combined. Something else happens. I don't fully understand it, but the element is called, as far as I am concerned, survival. It's injected into that entity of the sperm and the egg being together. So what Barbara is dealing with when she says in this situation or that situation is you psychologically. You have chosen, and this is very important, you have chosen to be resistant, to be embarrassed, because I picked those Tic Tacs simply because they're small and I can carry them in my pocket anytime. And since there are 0 calories, they're not going to impact on me. But I have learned that I want to be in control. I told you years ago stories about being on Route 684 in New York when it was just opened and being pressed by friends of mine to speed. And all of a sudden, we see these lights in front of us. And I hit the brake and nothing happened. And I hit the brake and nothing happened because at the speed we were going, my brakes would not hold. And we came closer and closer and closer. And all of a sudden, the last 100 yards, the car slowed down and stopped. There had been an accident, and and the road was icy. And I have never been so terrified in my life. I was out of control. I was feeling powerless and helpless. And I don't want to feel powerless and helpless anymore. And I don't want you to feel powerless and helpless. So stop complaining. And you want to know something? I don't care where you are. Nobody really has any thought whatsoever. Just take the Tic Tacs and put them in your mouth.
So will it be effective? So I'm in a business meeting. I can't have this whole conversation about control.
Okay.
Is it still helpful to just use the Tic Tacs?
The best example I've ever given in the past was the detective program called Kojak. And if any of you ever saw it, he walked around with a lollipop. And one of the reasons he walked around with a lollipop is it helped him not to smoke. No one ever, in my experience, ever commented when he put his hand in his pocket and put a lollipop in his mouth. So I don't care whether you're in a business meeting or where you are. All you do is take some Tic Tacs. You don't have to say anything. Put them in your mouth.
So if I put the Tic Tacs in my mouth, even without saying I feel like the cheese,
Think it.
it's still going to help.
Think it.
Okay. So next challenge, salt. I'm craving salt, especially at night. And I find myself cheating to get the salt.
That's an easy one. First and foremost, people who crave salt, two issues. Number one, they most probably are dehydrated. Two, there may be an issue as well with electrolytes. So therefore, one of the things, and it's very simple, take some salt, put it in the palm of your hand, put your tongue on your finger, put your finger in the salt, and drink some water. Very, very quickly, you'll be addressing the dehydration and the feeling will go away. For some people, electrolytes are also an issue. And what I suggest is that you use one of our recommended, like Ultima or Nuun, N-U-U-N. And that, remember, in the old days, the batteries had to be filled or the electricity would not flow. Electrolytes, when you're dehydrated, don't flow, so your nervous system is out of balance. So either using electrolytes, but definitely salt in the palm of your hand. And by the way, I recommend as highly as possible, if you can, the Himalayan pink crystal salt, because it's natural salt. It's not commercialized, and therefore it doesn't cause other problems as well.
So I can use electrolyte water, which I know a lot of it is flavored. And I only really like flavored water. I don't like plain water. And I know I'm supposed to drink, like, I've read a little 64 ounces, but I find it really hard. Can I drink all my water as electrolyte flavored water?
There is no question that the answer is yes. The only thing that I would personally look at is to see whether the electrolyte water that you're taking is basically calorically free. Some of the electrolytic waters are flavored with sucralose, and sucralose impacts on your gut and causes other problems. So there are many ways of using any kind of flavored water. Just remember one thing: the darker the color of the water, the less hydrating it is, because it has to be cleansed first in your liver and before it can be used.
So can I have things like Diet Coke?
Now, I don't go there. You asked me for a recommendation. I am not against it, but if you're going to be using Diet Coke, I recommend that you definitely, time-wise, not near each other, that you definitely take each day a probiotic.
Now, if I'm drinking Diet Coke, does it count towards my water?
Again, the answer is a qualified yes. The darker the liquid, the less hydrating it is. So if it were just pure, the issue is you would be taking in less water, because a lot of the water that you're taking in that makes the Diet Coke would have to be filtered out by the body, so you would be taking in less water for hydration.
And does seltzer, if I get seltzer or sparkling water, does that count the same as water?
Pretty much so, yes.
So it does.
I personally have my own way of doing things. I have a special drink. I call it a cherry lime Ricky. It's made with, and nowadays we don't have. I learned about it years ago when there were soda fountains, and you'd go in and sit down and buy. And I was in Tennessee. I was in one of the Carolinas, and I went into this place, and it's called a cherry lime Ricky. It was made with cherry flavored syrup, Coca-Cola, and lime juice. And it was, well, if you can see, I'm still thinking I was in love with it. Nowadays, I tend to make my own, but I also take a pre and probiotic every day.
So then next challenge is, my daughter's been cooking. And here I'm doing AccuLife. I'm in phase 1, but my daughter's been cooking. And so I don't want to hurt her feelings. Again, she's a kid, 11 years old. And so I'm torn between, do I just taste it? And then do I do a milk day the next day? Do I take a few days off to participate with her? I'm just not sure how to take care of her and how to take care of me.
All right. I'm going to answer that on a personal basis. In order to meet the circumstances that Barbara is talking about, one has to recognize that we have to consider her daughter as well. Now, the reality is, if, as she said, she tasted, she's accepting the fact that her overall weight loss is going to be less. It's going to take a longer time to reach her goal. But here we have to remember something, and this is something many of you don't consider at all. This is not a caloried weight loss program. This is a program that you have decided to weigh less, and you have a goal. Her problem is compounded by the fact that she has an 11-year-old who has gotten into this cooking thing, which I think is wonderful, likes to cook with mommy, which is wonderful, and mommy has to acknowledge that. Therefore, what I'm saying to mommy, and that's Barbara sitting next to me, is yes, you actually verbalize and say to your daughter when things are going on, mommy wants to weigh less, but mommy wants to be with you and enjoy this as well. And therefore, mommy is going to taste what it is that we're doing, everything in the open, no apologies whatsoever. It's a way of bonding and loving, but it's in the open. So we're not setting up psychological resistances and image that we have to deal with later.
So I know this is chemistry, and we even just said that. But what I'm tasting that my daughter made isn't on the chemistry of the program. So am I completely destroying everything that I've set up?
But you see, that's not accurate. The issue is, and we tend to ignore that, an 11-year-old is a child. Barbara is a woman. She has a goal and she's conscious of it. One of the things that I find very distressing is that people are embarrassed and shamed and guilty for saying, I want to weigh less. If you want to weigh less and food were not an issue, we would not be having these discussions at all. The only reason we're having this discussion is because you say, I want to weigh less.
But am I hurting? Like, again, I'm following the program and I'm losing weight. I'm in phase 1. I'm doing my 2 days. But I'm on a milk day and she made a pasta dish. And now I've taken a bite and there's no carbs, right? There's no pasta on the program. Have I thrown out all my hard work because I tasted the pasta?
Again, the Dr. Chu used to say something that I crack up with because he'd repeat it over and over and over again. And by the way, Dr. Chu was 30 years my junior and never, ever called me anything but Dr. Schwartz. I'd say Joseph. He'd say, yes, Dr. Schwartz. What he'd said to me was, one robin does not a summer make. 1,000 robins is an issue. So what I'm saying to Barbara is, number one, if that circumstance is occurring on a regular basis, then we have to address it in some other controlled fashion. But if these are things that happen once in a while, then you simply deal with it in a controlled fashion and move on. What it might have an impact in slowing your weight loss, but your body will not go into starvation mode, and this is critical. Your body will not go into starvation mode. And one of the biggest positives about this program is that you only burn fat. You do not burn muscle. You do not burn organ. You do not leach minerals from the bones. And what's wonderful, it does not have any meaningful effect on your metabolism. So you can go from phase 1, which is weight loss, to phase 2. And therefore, what I'm saying is, do it. Be responsible as an adult, but don't hide anything. And say to your daughter, no, we're not going to have this cooking on a milk day then. Or I'm not going to participate on a milk day. I'm going to enjoy you. But the answer is, mom has a right as well. So it's a combination there.
So taking that a step further, my daughter and I went on vacation, and I find anytime I'm so in the zone, right? So I'm doing my 2 days, 2 days, 2 days, and when I'm in the zone, nothing's getting in my way. But when I take a break, like we went on a few day vacation, and now I got to get back to it. I find myself in a pattern of cheating. Like I ate that yesterday, I want it still, and I find it really hard to get back on track. And I know
Terrific.
when I do it, I'm
All right,
successful.
All right, let me stop you. Here's the same thing again that I was talking about with, so to speak, the earlier client. And that's when you employ what I call the magic protocol. That's where the tic tacs come in. You're aware of the fact, and Barbara is saying to me right here and now, she's having a difficult time going from vacation mode back to the AccuLife. And the answer is she does not have control. Why does she not have control? I don't care. You shouldn't care. The question is, do you have control? The answer is yes or no. If you don't have control, tell me, do you like the fact that you don't have control? No. Can you get control back? Yes. Take 3 Tic Tacs, put them in your mouth, and no matter what you want, you will be unable to go off. And do it, and do it, and you will feel better and stronger and better about yourself. And you will have not scar your child or whatever circumstances.
So I'm going to share client Debbie, hi, has said, this is the best lifestyle change I've ever done, but I need to be more consistent. And so obviously there's a challenge here for her. So I'm going to be here for a minute and say, I'm having trouble keeping consistency. There's challenges in my life. Whatever's coming up, be it a work trip, again, something with my children. I know when I do it, I'm so successful. But I do find myself on and off and on and off and never really getting to phase. And therefore, I'm never really getting to phase 3.
Okay, I'm going to answer this in a very personalized kind of way. What I heard Barbara say is, I have resistance. I don't want to define it. She's resistive. She's making excuses. This gets in the way, this gets in the way, that gets in the way. None of that gets in the way. What gets in the way is an image that Barbara has in her head. Now, those images are in all of us. It's why we do certain things. Okay? You drive by and you suddenly think of, you look on television and notice how they bring you in by giving you images. We have images in the backs of our head and we want to fulfill them. Barbara said, I want to lose weight. But she's also saying to me, it's difficult. I agree. The reason it's difficult is if you are a food person, man, there's nothing better than food. Now, let's take vacation. What I recommend to people on vacation is that they recognize one of 3 things. 1, I'm going to stay on the program. 2, I'm going to do whatever the heck I want to do, and I'm just going to do it. And the 3rd thing is, how about I want to enjoy vacation, but I don't want to gain any weight? Now you have 3 choices. So what would I say to Barbara? It's simple. What I want you to do is go into your head and say, I am going to have only 1 meal today. It could be lunch. it could be dinner. Forget about the 12 to 6. I'm going to have lunch or I'm going to have dinner. Most people prefer to look forward to dinner. So what you're going to do is somewhere with having dinner, somewhere around noon to 3:30, 4 o'clock, you're going to have 2 fruits. I recommend, because Dr. Chu recommended them to me and they work, Granny Smith apples. So that's going to be your lunch. Dinner is going to be salad, vegetables, and 7-8 ounces fish, chicken, or shellfish. Now you can look forward to dinner. And when you come back off vacation, going on this 1 meal a day program, any weight that you put on will be minimum. And then it's hard to get back. The Tic Tacs.
What if I'm a vegetarian and I don't eat chicken, fish, or shellfish?
And what do vegans use or vegetarians use for protein?
Could be soy tofu, lentils.
There you go.
So we could substitute
Absolutely.
other proteins. Okay, that's good to know.
Now, hear what I'm saying. You're not resisting the resistance. What you're doing is putting yourself first in an adult fashion that truly works, is truly rational, and it puts you in control. And if you remember what I said about driving on 684, how terrible it felt to be out of control. And I never, ever want to be there again. The means are there. Use them.
So I did AccuWeight, and I know now we're becoming AccuLife, but I did it years ago, and it was so successful. But obviously I was a lot younger. My life looked different. I didn't have a kid. I didn't have a spouse or partner. And now all of a sudden my body has changed. Even eating the same things the way I was maintaining has changed. Will it work for me, and will I be able to maintain again?
The answer is, without any question, a qualified yes. As far as weighing less, that's absolutely going to happen. The one thing that you cannot fight is the fact that between 15 and 35, and I just picked those numbers arbitrarily, you've been living on Earth and it's caused you a problem. The problem is called gravity. And there's nothing you can do about gravity unless you're going to sleep on a table where you're upside down. And by the way, there are therapies that way. And your body shape is going to change because of gravity. Looking good, fitting into a size, there's no question about it. I don't care whether you're 15, 30, 55, or 85. AccuWeight, AccuLife works, and that's why I don't talk about it. But remember, it's not a calorie program. It's chemical. And if you take care of it and do it, there is no question whatsoever. Your size is going to change. Your shape is going to change as well. But if you're 55, you're not going to have a 25-year-old's shape.
Now, last time I did it, I was able to exercise. And I'm having knee issues now that mean I can't exercise. Will I get similar results and be able to lose? You talk about 15 pounds or more in a month if I'm truly following it. Without exercise, am I still going to get great results?
That's one of the beautiful things about AccuWeight. It is not a calorie diet. When Barbara said exercise, what we're thinking about is burning calories to weigh less. The program itself, your weight will go down, your size will change, but as I said, if you're not in puberty, okay, the shape of your body is going to be different, not comparing it to size.
Yeah, I've been starting to take some probiotics and things, but they're in these powdered green forms. And I know there's milk days, there's vegetable days. The supplements I've been taking while not on AccuLife are all these, greens, vegetables, fruits and vegetables in them. Am I allowed to take them on milk days, and can I even use them while I'm on the program?
Now, there are different kinds. On a personal basis, I don't want to do this on the podcast. I used to be a very big vitamin person. And I got to the point where I looked at the multivitamins available, and I was not happy, nor am I happy about food that we get, because farmers are more interested, and that they're usually big agro businesses, in getting a bigger crop, not replenishing the soil with what the soil needs. So I have started to take, and this is, I don't know how many years ago, a plant extract that has more than 50 fruits and vegetables, all GMO, non-GMO. And I take in the morning, I take 7 or 8 ounces of water. I mix the powder in the water. I drink it down, and that's where I get my vitamins. And I'm doing very well on it, and have been for, I'm not sure how many years now. And that's both my multivitamin, and it has zero impact because there's no sugar in it. There are no additives in it. It's just, I guess, freeze-dried or molecularized fruits and vegetables.
It's good to know. So, vitamins, just speaking of vitamins, like I take vitamins, I take supplements, I've got some medications I might be on. Some of them say I need to take them with food.
So take them at 12 o'clock.
But I have to take them in the morning. The doctor said I have to take them in the morning. What do I do?
Well, on a milk day, take it with 2 ounces of milk. And on a fruit vegetable day, take it with fruit.
And what happens if I'm feeling a little nauseous? Like if I take them on an empty stomach, and that just doesn't seem like enough. Is there something that I can do? Because I don't want to not do the program, but I have to take medication.
There are many things available. One of the best is ginger. It helps you with your nausea. It's also helpful on other levels as well, but you were talking about nausea, and so that's
Can I use ginger on a milk day?
Why not? The amount we're talking about is minuscule.
So how much are we talking about?
As much as you need. A quarter of a teaspoon, half a teaspoon. Once we start counting, we're in trouble. And that's one of the beauties of this program. On a typical program, you're permitted 1.5 pounds of salad, or 1.5 pounds of vegetables, or a combination of salad and vegetables that does not exceed 1.5 pounds. It's as simple as that, right? Now, ginger basically has no calories in it. And if you have nausea, you take a quarter teaspoon, put it in some water or whatever, drink it down, and the nausea will disappear. Will it impact on the program? Again, one robin does not a summer make. And we have to recognize this is not a diet in the concept that you have. Diet simply means what you do. How do you diet? Diet does not mean lose weight. Diet means what you eat. What is your diet? Now, we're doing something that's exceptionally healthy. I have never kept count, but I can tell you that over 8,000 type 2 diabetics who have done our program, over 8,000 have been clinically cured of their diabetes. I didn't say they're not diabetics anymore. I said they've been clinically cured because the body knows how to heal itself. We're a program that's going to teach you how, not what. And the reason, not what. You have an opinion? I have an opinion. Can I tell you something? Because my opinion is different than your opinion, you're wrong. And if we're going to have a conversation, I'm going to try to prove to you that I'm right and you're wrong. What kind of discussion is that? What are we learning? You have, the moment I say you can't have it, we got a problem. When we're on stabilization and maintenance, our job is to teach you how to eat, not what to eat. There should be no prohibited foods. So, for example, if I say to you processed foods are a problem, I didn't say don't have processed foods, but I'm telling you, you're looking for trouble. And how many people do you know who look for trouble, don't find it?
Now, you said there are no prohibited foods in phase 2 and 3, but we know that vinegar is prohibited during phase 1. So a question came up, what happens if I accidentally have vinegar?
Now, did you hear what Barbara said? Accidentally. One robin does not a summer make. Accidentally. But I love apple cider vinegar. There are reasons all over to have it. While you're on the weight less part of the program, phase 1, you can't have it.
But I was at a salad bar and I didn't think there was dressing on it, but it turned out there was. And so that when I say accidentally, I really didn't mean it, but did I just screw it all up?
And that's the beauty. Because it was accidental, next time you go back to that bar, you're going to check, or maybe in other places, you're going to check. And it's gone. It's over. It's done with. The worst that's going to happen, the worst that's going to happen is you're going to lose a little bit less weight. It's not going to change anything else. This is not a weight reduction. This is not a calorie diet.
So now with that said, I know that Walden,
you see how we get along?
it's all good. This is real. So Walden Farms has salad dressing. It's 0 calorie, but it has vinegar. And I'm really confused. Like, Can I have it? Can I not have it? What would happen if I do have it? I'm really confused.
The answer is very simple. Most of the Walden Farms products are acceptable. Their salad dressings, because of the fact that they have, are prohibited, are not acceptable while on the program.
Now, I know somebody who's on the program who's been using it and she's losing weight. Is it the fact that it's 0 calorie, even though it has vinegar? I'm really confused because I know she's using it. Do you think I can use it too?
She's trying to trick me, people. Let me explain something to you.
Told you I was going to ask real questions.
Let me explain something to you. And this is something most people forget. Our methodology for weighing less is all natural and chemical. Vinegar changes the pH in the body and impacts on the body and how it works. So the answer is no. If you do use it on a regular basis, the odds are you're going to lose less weight. But here's the important thing. You're not going to only lose fat. You're going to burn muscle. You're going to burn organ. You're going to leach minerals from the bones. That's why so many people who've lost a lot of weight have that gaunt, pinched, emaciated look, because the muscle, the ligaments, the cartilage of the body on our program is minimally touched. You only lose fat.
So does it matter? I know that the acupressure made a really big difference. The acubeads really worked. Like, I started the program. I was somebody who ate all the time. I used the acubeads and my appetite went away. But I found that now I'm used to the program. I'm really not that hungry. So I forget to do my beads all the time. Do I really still need them?
If you're not on the program, there are no beads.
No, but I'm still in phase 1. But I just find I'm not hungry. So I forgot to change my beads. I don't remember to massage them all the time anymore. Do I still need them?
Yes, you do. If you're going to be on the program and you want to stay out of starvation mode, you're talking about calories. We're talking about program.
Yeah, well, I'm just not hungry. Aren't they suppressing my appetite, but I'm not hungry?
Yes. The fact that you're not hungry is not the issue.
So what it is?
It's chemistry.
But what do the acubeads have to do with my chemistry?
What it has to do, if you don't use the beads, you're not conversing with the hypothalamus. All overweight is a hypothalamus that is defective. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of another word. This is a hypothalamic issue. This is not a caloried diet. So by eating less and not using the beads, she's going to lose less because of the calorie reduction, but it's not going to minimize loss of muscle, loss of cartilage, loss of organ.
So it's doing more than suppressing my appetite.
The key to the beads is, 1, it takes away appetite. But number 2, between the milk, fruits, and vegetables, fat, protein, amino acids, enzymes, fructose, the 5 basic elements the body needs for nutrition. Since the beads prevent the brain from counting calories, the brain thinks it's getting everything it needs between the milk, fruits, and vegetables, doesn't realize the calories were taken away. So the liver then goes to your stored fat, breaks down stored fat into glycogen, which is a form of sugar, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're getting your energy not from calories, you're getting your energy from the sugar that comes from the fat in your body.
That makes a little more sense. So now I know. So even if I'm not feeling hungry, I should keep massaging my beads so it helps keep the chemistry in play.
That's what it is now.
Now-
I kiss my wife regularly just to make sure she understands.
Now, sorry. You have to remember his wife is my mother, so it always makes me laugh. He amuses me. So this is my dad being my dad. So just so you know, Dr. Schwartz, that you know, my dad is this way all the time. So the acupressure beads, you said it in the acu beads, I'm not going to use them later on.
Correct.
How come, what if I want to? Can I wear them long term?
The answer is the beads with the food part of the program is the key. The beads are there for two reasons only. They send a neural impulse, that's electricity, from behind your head to a gland in your midbrain named the hypothalamus. So the beads, when massaged, talk to the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus controls satisfaction. That's why hunger goes away. The hypothalamus also looks at calories, but the massage of the beads prevents the brain from counting calories. So your brain does not have the awareness that we've taken the calories away.
Okay, but when I'm on maintenance, can I still, if it suppresses my appetite, wouldn't that help me maintain to keep wearing them?
Not without the food. Remember, one of the things that nobody talks about is intermittent fasting. The Chinese, by the way, invented it over 1,000 years ago. I don't know what they called it, but one of the biggest rages today is intermittent fasting. And no matter where you go and talk about, go look up intermittent fasting, and everybody will tell you how wonderful it is. Now, when we're on stabilization and maintenance, our hours are going back. In fact, when we're done and we're on maintenance, I'm going to recommend you eat and stop eating 2 hours before you go to bed. Now, if you go to bed at midnight, then I want you to stop eating at 10. So we're not dealing with the same parameters when we're off the program, and therefore the beads are meaningless.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking I have a lot more questions, but I think we're going to table them for another night. And this way we can continue this at another time. I don't know if there's anything you want to add.
The only thing I want to add is that, number one, I hope you enjoyed this. And this